Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Algorand. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the previous video, what we were discussing was the potential that from further back here, we have a bigger 5-wave structure. And what we are looking for is this is 1, 2, 3 down into this low here. Looking for this as a fourth, and then looking for another 5-wave move to the downside afterwards. Now, for as long as we stay below this 1785, which would be our invalidation point, and within this range over here, which would be this 1475 to this 1137 region, what I'm looking for is the potential that this could still be a fourth wave move here. And then we would be looking for this 5-wave structure to the downside afterwards. Common target area for this as a fifth would be this 0802 to this 0665. Another area of interest would be this 2.618 of this wave 1, which would be lower down here towards this 0654. Now this would all align with the idea that from higher up here we are looking for a bigger ABC pattern, which our 1-to-1 would actually be lower down towards this 0781. So this would align with this fifth wave box that we've got over here, and would it be looking for this as a fifth wave to the downside here. Now this would also tie into the idea that we are looking for this as a fifth wave from over here, where this is our fourth wave, and then we're looking for this continuation down in a fifth wave. Now 1-to-1 of the previous wave 1 is actually here at the 0658, so this is aligning with that idea of pushing down into those deeper areas. And then we also have this 0.618 of the wave 1 to 3 down here at the 0499. So these are some areas I'm just keeping an eye on lower down here. Now we also need to be aware there is the potential that from further back here, what we could do is count this as a corrective structure, where this becomes W, this is X, and then what we're looking for is an ABC pattern for this Y wave. Now, what we do have here currently is we have this as a W, this is an X, and this is a Y. We've come down towards this 1, 2, 3, 6, and we've had a move to the upside. Now, the problem that I have with this is that if this is going to be a Y wave, I would be looking for the potential that this structure here is only the first part of that move. Because what I'd like to see is a clear ABC pattern. So this could technically be an A wave, but then I'd want to see a 3-wave move to the upside. So as long as we actually fail to break above this 3187 to this 20 cent 15, I will be mindful that if we form any kind of 3-wave structure up here, we could still be looking for this continuation to the downside afterwards. Now, if we had to come up here towards this 0.618 level, effectively our 1-to-1 would be down here at this 0483. So if we do start to look to break out of this range here, potentially we could then look to push up a little bit, but then I would still be cautious that we could still see this continuation to the downside at a later date. So this is looking for the potential that we could see a bigger push to the upside, looking to invalidate that idea of that fourth wave, and then still seeing this push down. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on. If we do see 3 waves up here, I will still be looking for this possibility of continuation to the downside. Okay, so let's get into the smaller degree stuff here. So we're going to come in here and we're going to focus in on this little area that we've got over here. So within this structure here, there's a couple of ways we can look at this. So if we are looking for this idea of the fourth wave, like I said, as long as we remain under this 1475, then I will still be looking for this potential of this fifth wave to the downside. Now, if we are looking at this as a corrective structure, what we could potentially have here is that this move here is an A wave, this is a B wave, and what we are looking for now is a 5-wave structure to the upside. So if we are looking for this, we have the potential that this could be looking for this 1611 as a 1-to-1, and then we also do have this area over here, the 0.618 at this 1358, which would be quite interesting. Because this would be our minimum requirement and could potentially look for us to actually come back up here and hit this double top. Also looking out for the possibility of moving up into this channel line here, depending on how long this takes. Potentially this 786 at this 1464 and this 1510 at this 0854 could be quite interesting areas. Now what we'd want to see is 5-wave structure to the upside for this count. So there is also another alternative of this. We could argue that this is a W wave and this is an X wave, and what we could be looking for is a 3-wave move to the upside. Now, if we are looking for something like this, the most probable way that this would play out, in my opinion, is that this would be ABC for an A wave here. Then what we'd be looking for is a 3-wave move to the downside, followed by a 5-wave structure to the upside, something like this. Now, if we do look to move down here, we could potentially still look to find support here towards us 1075, and this 1141 would be the higher range of this. So there are some swing lows which are interesting here. Just be beyond the 50% here. We have this 1145. We also do have this one sitting right here on this golden pocket, which would be quite an interesting level to see price come back down into. If we do manage to hold this, then we could still potentially look for this continuation to the upside in this additional C wave, looking for this higher target area. The targets would remain the same. The internals targets would, however, differ. This 1-to-1 off of that 0.618 would actually bring us into this 1360. So this is what I'm saying. This 0.618 is going to be an interesting zone to me. And then as well as that, if we do look to push up slightly higher here, we do have the 1382 and these 1236 as potential targets up into this channel. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. If this does hold, then potentially we could be looking for this continuation to the upside here. So this is looking for the short-term short-term bullish moves to the upside. If we are looking at this, however, as a ABC pattern, what we need to be careful of is that if we do see a move that actually does look to push up higher here, possibly what we could be looking for is a bigger 5-wave structure. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. We're going to discuss these shorter term moves as corrective ones first, and then we'll go over that bullish potential. So if we are looking at this as ABC, like I said, we're looking for the potential of a 5-wave structure to the upside. Now, how could this look to play out with what we have here? So like I said, we could count this just as A, B, and C completed, and then we could look for that corrective move to the downside. Alternatively, what we could have here is the possibility that we could be looking for a 5-wave structure. Now, the problem that we have here is that we need to see this move actually push up towards this 1473 to confirm this given the current structure. So that would be looking at this as 1, 2, and then saying that we're looking for this third wave. Now this third wave can take place in a few different ways here. What we could see is something like this, where we actually look at this as an expanding diagonal here, in which case what we're looking for is a 3-wave move to the downside. Our typical support zone is this 1178 to this 1131, and then we want to see this hold, and then we want to see basically this level here, this 1097 is going to be our invalidation point for this as a count. If we do see this as a wave 1 to the upside, this is a wave 2. What we'd be looking for here effectively would be the potential to see this 1458 play out as our wave 3, looking for a 4th and a 5th. Now, if we do see something like this, what this would mean is that this would all potentially be within the bigger wave 1, 2. So this would all become our wave 3, and then we'd still get an additional 4th and a 5th. So this is going to be key here. If we're looking for a breakout, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the upside. So bringing us up into this channel. Now, the other way that we could look to actually play out here, where we could be looking to extend directly up here without seeing a bigger retracement, even though we have technically come down into that area already, is by looking at this structure slightly different, arguing that we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 here. Now the key difference with this is that we're going to get this is going to push up directly here without seeing, you know, a bigger move and then a bigger 3rd, 4th, and a 5th. So this is going to have some smaller 4th waves within this structure if this is the case. Now the key thing that here is, once again, invalidation would be this low point here, this 1144. What I would then be looking for here is effectively that idea that this becomes 1, 2, and we see this 3rd wave up here towards this 1385. We see a 5-wave move to the upside, something like this, and then we move up into this zone. I will be looking at this idea of these additional 4ths and 5ths, which could potentially look to push us up towards this 1571 to this 1504. Now, we would have to wait for the actual structure to form here, because sometimes we can extend out further, or sometimes these might fall short slightly of certain targets that I'm looking at, and the 4th waves might not be as deep and things like that, which adjusts the overall target. The same idea would apply here. If we do see something like this, this would all be 1, 2, this would become our 3rd wave. We'd get a 4th and then a 5th wave to the upside still. So this is looking for a much bigger breakout here. Effectively the same idea as here if this is a diagonal and we hold the lows. So really, for as long as we hold these lows here, potentially we can be looking for that possibility of a break to the upside. Now, if we do just get a 5-wave move to the upside here like this, what we need to be cautious of is that unless we actually hit the more impulsive target here, which would be this 0205, this would still mean that we are within a corrective move. So if we just see something like this, A, B, and then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially this 1-to-1 target could come into play, this 1672, which would align with just the idea of this being a corrective move. This is going to be our higher target that we want for the bullish structure, this 2205. If we do move up into this 2205 area, effectively what we do have then is the potential to form this fourth wave over here, and then a fifth wave to the upside, looking to target out 2617 to this 2355. Now, this would then tie into the idea that we aren't going to get this fourth and fifth wave, and this would rather be looking at that possibility that this is going to be an A, we're going to get a B, and then we're going to see that C wave to the upside. So this would be looking for that bigger B wave in that corrective count. So this is what I'm looking out for. It's not my primary expectation here, this breakout idea, but it is technically possible. So we need to just be aware of that fact. Now, we could also argue, because we're looking for a fourth wave here, we could see something develop like a triangle here, where this becomes A, B, C. Then we see a three-wave move down for a D wave, and then a three-wave move up for an E wave. Now, measuring the length of this wave B, what I do have here is that we have come up into this golden pocket, which is quite a common area here for a C wave. Invalidation of this as a triangle would come by either breaking above this 1411 or breaking below this point here, which would be this 1027. Breaking either of those points would invalidate this idea of this as a triangle. But if we do just see this play out as A, B, and C, and we just come up into this high here, and then we look to break down another three-wave move and find support above this B wave, potentially this could be something like a triangle here, where we look for another three-wave move to the upside in an E wave and then look for a breakdown. So I've got these target boxes on here. These are the 0.618 to the 0.786. So these are just a common area that these C waves or that these waves will have in relationship to each other. Now, it doesn't have to be all the waves that have these relationships, but I have got them marked on here just for visual representation here, where this could just be our C wave, get a three-wave move for an D wave, and then an E wave. Now, the key thing is that if we have a triangle like this, effectively what we'd be expecting is off the back of this, we'd expect a five-wave move to the downside for that fifth wave. So that would be continuing to look for that downside potential. So if we see something like a triangle in this position, it is a continuation pattern. This means that we're going to see that continuation to the downside, in which case we'd be looking for that fifth wave idea to actually push down into this lower support zone that we'd potentially be looking at this 0802 to the 0665 region. Okay, so coming in here and looking at the daily CPR lines, what we can see is that we are above these central lines. We did move up into this S1 target already today. What I want to see is that if we do see price come back down here, potentially we could look to retest this area of this 1164 to this 1158. If we do hold this zone, then we do have the potential to move back to the upside here to retest this S1 again at this 1264. We have other targets to the upside, 1313 and this 1369 as potential targets here that we could still look to move up into. If, however, we start to lose these central lines, potential targets to the downside for today is this 1108. We have this 1058, 1004, and this 954 as potential downside targets for today. Now, we do also have some weekly pivot points which have been printed as of this morning, and from this what we can see is that we moved into these lines. We have held support here and we moved up into this S1 line already. Now, if we do look to move back to the downside, same idea. It's going to be looking at this as a potential support zone at this 1148 to this 1130 region. If we do hold this, we could potentially see price push to the upside, looking for this 1348, this 1458 as other targets to the upside. Now, if we do start to break down and lose these levels, effectively what we could then be looking for is the potential to test out this 1045. We have this 930, and we also have this lower level here of this 0835 as potential downside targets for this week. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these and seeing if price pivots at these levels if we do move into them. Now, if we come over here onto the monthly, what we can see is that we are currently below the monthly CPR line here, and this is sitting at this 1218. So this is very tightly spread here and is indicating that we've got a lot of volatility potential for this month. Now, if we do look to continue to push to the downside, what we have as a target would be this 901. we have this 0582, which would align with coming back into our channel, and then we have this 0264. Now we don't have to always hit all these targets. These are just potential pivot points within the market. Now if we do see price continue to push up here and we get back above these levels, this could potentially mean that we could see price gravitate towards this 1533. We have this 1853 and we have this 2170 as potential upside targets. Now this would only really align with the idea of seeing this develop as a 5-wave move here if we're looking for these higher targets here. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on those throughout the rest of this month to see if we see price get gravitated towards those levels. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone have a great day. See you in the next one. Take care.